Students, hope you will be fine at your native places. Today we are going to discuss the genetically modified organisms, or simply called as the GMOs. Now, first let us try to discuss what do we mean by the GMO, or what we mean by the genetically modified organism. GMOs are those organisms, or these are those organisms that have been altered, or that are those organisms in which what we will see that their DNA has been altered in some way through genetic engineering. These are also known as the transgenic organisms. These are those organisms in which the DNA from the desired organism is inserted into the target organism through in the laboratory, in order what we will see that in order to get that desired characters in that organism. GMOs की अगर हम बात करेंगे, GMOs are created in the laboratory using some scientific methods. Like, we have got two important methods. First one is this recombinant DNA technology, and second one we have got this reproductive cloning. In case of the first, what we will see this in this recombinant DNA technology, what we will see that the genes from an organism, they are inserted into the DNA, or we can say into the DNA of the other organism, or DNA of the another organism. In case of this reproductive cloning, or we can say in this method, what we will see that in this case what we will see that the extraction of a mature somatic cell, somatic cell from the desired organism, and is inserted into the egg of the target organism that has its what is called as the nucleus removed. The main goal of this what we call as the GMO, or we can say the genetically modified organism, is that in order to increase the productivity of the crop, in order to increase the yield of the crop, and to produce the disease resistant variety. We have got certain examples where we will see that we have created the genetically modified organisms. One well-known organism, this example of that is the what we called this the golden rice. It was this variety जो हमारे पास rice की है, it was genetically modified to generate beta carotenes 20 times more than that of the previous variety of the rice, and this variety of the rice is intended for Asia. एक और हमारे पास एग्जाम्पल है, दैट इज द वेराइटी राइस की एक और वेराइटी है which was also extracted to fight against the iron deficiency. A gene from the bean plant is taken and it is inserted into the rice gene, and the resultant rice जो हमारे पास बन जाता है, that helps us to overcome, that helps us to fight against the iron deficiency. Now the GMOs, or we can say the genetically modified organisms, they offer many many potential benefits to the environment. It helps us in reducing the ecological damage. For example, एक हमारे पास well known example है, that is the certain genetically engineered bacteria एक हमारे पास है that can produce biodegradable plastics. A bacterium एक हमारे पास है that is called as the Rhizostomia, this eutropha. It converts glucose and some other acids जो हमारे पास है into what we call as a flexible polymer, and then this polymer is used for making the what we call as the plastics. Now we are going to discuss the merits and demerits of the genetically modified organisms, or we can simply say the advantages and disadvantages of the genetically modified organism. First, let us discuss this merits, or we can say the advantages of this genetically modified organism. अगर हम एडवांटेज की बात करेंगे, फर्स्ट जो हमारे पास है, इट इम्प्रूव्स द प्रोडक्शन एंड इट इंक्रीजेस द व्हाट वी कॉल्ड एज द फार्मर्स इनकम. इंडिया की अगर हम बात करेंगे, इंडिया इज एन एग्रीकल्चरल कंट्री एंड मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन जो इंडिया की है, दे आर एंगेज्ड इन द एग्रीकल्चरल वर्क. सेकेंड वन अगर हम बात करेंगे इंडिया की, दैट इट इज द सेकेंड हाईली पॉपुलेटेड कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड. इन ऑर्डर टू हैव द continuous supply of the food to this ever increasing population, we have to increase our crop yield, and for that, what we'll see, for that, this genetically modified जो species हमारे पास है organism में जो है, they can play a well important role in having this continuous supply of the food for this ever increasing population. Second one, they can produce in a small area of the land. अगर हम थर्ड बात की बात करेंगे, they can feed a rapidly increasing population because it shows rather, yeah, it shows dramatically what we call as the increased yield. एक और बात हमारे पास आती है, it reduces the use of pesticides, it reduces the use of insecticides during the various agricultural what we call as the methods, and thus what we will see, those insecticides, those chemicals, they might be beneficial for the betterment of the food supply. Regarding the demerits, or we can say the disadvantages, फर्स्ट वन जो है इसका है दैट इट इंक्रीजेस द कॉस्ट ऑफ कल्टिवेशन एंड इट इज मोर इनक्लाइंड टुवर्ड्स द मार्केटाइजेशन ऑफ द फार्मिंग. थर्ड वन, अगर हम दूसरी बात इसकी हम बात करेंगे, इट इज बायोलॉजिकली ऑल्टर्ड, हेंस अगर हम बात करेंगे दीज बायोटेक फूड्स दे मे पोज ए थ्रेट टू द ह्यूमन बीइंग्स. थर्ड वन, अब जो हमारे पास ट्रांसजेनिक क्रॉप जो हमारे पास आते हैं या दी जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिज्म प्लांट्स हमारे पास आते हैं, दीज नॉट ओनली एंड्योर the farmers, but they also, what we will see, pose threat to the environment as well. Now we have got one more, that is this beta crops, or these are simply called as the Bacillus thuringiensis crops. What do we mean by these Bacillus thuringiensis crops, or we can call it as the beta crops? These are also the transgenic crops, or we can say these are the genetically modified crops that are genetically engineered from the DNA of a bacterium, and the name of that bacterium is Bacillus thuringiensis. अगर हम इन क्रॉप्स की बात कर लेंगे, दे आर ट्रांसजेनिक क्रॉप्स एंड दे प्रोड्यूस द टॉक्सिन्स, दे प्रोड्यूस रादर सम टॉक्सिन्स. वो टॉक्सिन ऐसे होते हैं एज द बैक्टीरियम दिस बैसिलस थोरेंजेसिस इन द प्लांट सेल. अब जो ये दिस बैसिलस थोरेंजिस जैसे वो टॉक्सिन प्रोड्यूस कर लेता है इन द प्लांट सेल, वो वैसा ही होता है जैसे दिस बैसिलस थोरेंजिस अपने आप में वो सिक्रीट कर लेता है. देयर बाय दिस प्रोटेक्ट्स द क्रॉप फ्रॉम पेस्ट्स. द बैक्टीरियम जो इसकी बात कर लेते हैं, दैट दे सिक्रीट्स the protein, and the name of that protein is cryproteins, and that cryproteins, they are toxic to the insects. When an insect feeds on transgenic plants, the toxin जो होता है, that is this cryprotein, what we see that is present in the plant cell, it crystallizes the digestive system of the insect that that leads to the death of that insect. However, this has got no harmful effect on the human beings. The practice of this, that is the practice of using this BT crops, it starts from the year 1996 with small quantities of the genes from the bacterium. This facilitates the production of the cryprotein in the plant cells that help to kill the pests. A few examples of these crops, that is the Bacillus thuringiensis crops जो हमारे पास आजकल मौजूद है, that is the cotton, that हमारे पास एक और है, that is the brinjal, and these have been produced our researchers. Let us first try to discuss about cotton. The Bacillus thuringiensis cotton, or simply the BT cotton variety, is genetically what we call as the transferred with the what we call as the BT gene to produce the what we call as the to produce rather to protect the अगर हम यहाँ की बात कर लेंगे, द बीटी कॉटन और दिस Bacillus thuringiensis cotton variety genetically modified, it is genetically transferred with the beta gene, that is the Bacillus thuringiensis gene, to protect the plant from bollworm, which is a major threat, which is a major pest of the cotton. जो worm वहाँ पर होता है, the worm present on the leaves of the cotton, it becomes somewhat lethargic, it becomes somewhat sleepy. इससे क्या हो जाता है, when it becomes sleepy, when it becomes inactive, जो लॉस जो हमारे इस कॉटन में होता है, it is somewhat reduced. अब जो toxins which are being produced by the crops, they are ingested by this pests, and that results in the killing of this what we call as a pest. इससे हमारा जो क्रॉप होता है वो प्रोटेक्ट हो जाता है. नाउ वी हैव गॉट दिस बीटी ब्रिंजल. दिस बीटी ब्रिंजल जो होता है, इट इज ऑल्सो रिप्लेस्ड बाय द जेनेटिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ ए क्रिस्टल प्रोटीन जीन that is called as the cry1ac crystal protein gene, which is called as cry1ac from the bacterium that is called as the Bacillus thuringiensis. अब जो ब्रिंजल जो होता है, this brinjal is developed in order to provide the resistance against the lepidopteran insects. The protein जो यहाँ पर produce हो जाते हैं, the proteins produced by the BT genes, they bind to the receptors present on the insect's membrane, which forms, वहाँ पर क्या होगा, they forms the spores on its membrane. This develops the digestive process. This disrupts the digestive process, and this leads to the death of the insect. Now these have got some disadvantages as well as advantage of, we can say, merits and the demerits. First, let us discuss this merits, or we can say the advantages of the BT crop. They help us in improving the crop yield, thereby raising the farmer's income. This results in increasing the yield, thereby increasing the crop production. It helps us in controlling the what we call as the soil pollution, as the use of the chemical fertilizers, as the use of the chemical pesticides, that is reduced. Third one, अगर हम बात, they help in protecting the beneficial insects. It leads to the productive in a very small area of the land. अगर हम एक और की बात करें जो इसका बेनिफिट हो सकता है, they lead to the production of the disease resistant crops, disease free crops जो हमारे पास अब आते हैं. अब एक जो हम बात करेंगे, दैट इज दिस डिसएडवांटेजेस की अगर हम बात कर लेंगे, दे आर रादर कॉस्टलियर देन द नेचुरली ग्रोन क्रॉप्स. दे कैन डिस्टर्ब द नेचुरल प्रोसेस ऑफ जीन फ्लो. अब जो हमारे पास पेस्ट जो होता है, which damages our crops, this pest, it becomes the resistance to the strains produced by these crops, and the crop production जो होती है, it may also decline. That is all for today. Rest okay. God bless you. Thanks.